Hello and welcome back to another video of Conant Reacts. Today I'll be doing something a little bit different that I have only done once before, and that is I did another interview with a musician from Sudbury, Ontario, who I got in contact with through a Facebook group, and I am really looking forward to this video and I hope that you enjoy. So please feel free to let me know in the comments if you liked the interview and if you'd like to see me do more things like this in the future. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you after the intro.
There we
Hello.
go. Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. So I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to come and do the interview. I really appreciate it. Okay, so you and I kind of got in touch by the connecting through quarantine group on Facebook, I believe. And I was
Yeah.
just wondering, where are you from and how did you get your start in the music world?
Okay, I'm from Sudbury, Ontario, which is in Canada. And I got my start in music because my parents sent me into piano lessons, and I also sang in a lot of choirs. Yeah, and I took up a real interest in studying it. So I went to university for studying classical piano.
Oh, nice.
Pretty, pretty fun launching point.
Yeah. So then how old were you when you discovered your love for music and realized that you might have wanted to start doing it on like a more regular basis, even if it was like full time?
I was 12 years old when I decided I wanted to study music. Yeah, well, it kind of started with Finale Notebook. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a music notation software, and it had just come out when I was 12. And it was the Finale Notebook is like the free version, like the smaller, like more bite-sized version of Finale. And that's kind of where I started to really write music.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Um, so growing up then, was there like a certain band or musician or anything that you looked up to which really piqued your interest and made you realize you wanted to pursue the music more?
There's actually kind of two really big role models for me. One of them is Clara Schumann, who was a mother of I think it was 8 kids, like just a crazy number of kids, and she was in the 1800s, no less. She was a fantastic classical pianist, and she was also a composer. Very beautiful music. So I wanted to be like her. And I also wanted to be like Taylor Swift. So they were kind of my two biggest role models. And I ended up modeling my music after both of them, even though they're very completely different styles.
So one thing that I would like to mention, even just to you, is I don't think I've never actually listened to any of your stuff. I'm not really familiar with the type of style that you do. So just for people that are just seeing this, what kind of style is your music, and like, do you have a certain artist that you kind of would like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, compare it to, just in terms of the sound and all that kind of stuff?
Okay, so what I write is what I would consider to be Canadian folk music, but it's
Hmm.
a bit different in the sense that it's, a lot of Canadian folk music is like the big band arrangement. So you have, like 3 different singers and a violinist and, like a guitarist who's different from your vocalist and all that stuff, and like trumpet players and things like that. But so my music is mostly just me and my guitar. For a long time, it was me and my friend Jen Capra, and we would sing like two voices and a guitar and or ukulele. So that was my band arrangement for about 2 years, and then when I was finally ready to put out an album, Jen had moved down south, like to southern Ontario. So my album is a lot of just me, but I was able to get a violinist to come in, and Jen was also able to do some vocals on the track and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a stripped down Canadian folk music would be the best description.
So what made you kind of want to do that style of music? Did it just kind of stick out more to you than another one, or was that just something that you loved growing up and really wanted to pursue that style more than a different style?
I have two theories about the way musical style works. The first one is a very studied one. So you pick apart like the way everyone else is doing it, and you make sure you emulate exactly the way you see a genre as being. And I think there's a lot of songwriting value in that. Like I always think of the Gorillas, and I think of that sort of very like you can do a lot more storytelling if you picked apart at it and you studied it a lot. So that's one avenue, and I think that's an extremely important avenue. I think the second avenue for songwriting is um, more difficult in the sense that it's not in the external world. So I had this internal instinct as a musical writer to write a certain way, and it just was folk music. Like I didn't choose it for it to be like that. It just that's when I follow my instincts, that's just what it sounds like. So
Just kind of
that's
how it came out.
yeah.
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 Yeah, well, I'm not huge into folk music just because like I've always kind of thought like I love the way it sounds and stuff. It's just never really been anything that I've really invested in a whole lot. But I do really love just how even just the way that the songs themselves are structured and how you can tell in folk music the at least just from what I've heard that it seems to be that lyrically is where like the lyrics are where most of the style comes from, and then the
Yeah.
instruments are kind of they're there but it's not the main focus of the songs, like where other genres of music may have more instrument heavy stuff,
Mhm.
which I always kind of thought was interesting.
I have a very strong relationship with music, but I also have a very strong relationship with poetry because my dad is an English professor at Conant University up in Sudbury, and he really developed my appreciation of poetry and the way that lyrics like to me like really great lyrics is something that Leonard Cohen would write. So I'd always try to make sure my songs could reflect that. I think folk music ended up just becoming like a really natural part of making poetry musical.
That's good though. That's I always find it, especially when it comes to artists. I find that that's the most important thing for me is the lyrics and what an artist is trying to get out into the open and really bear their soul into their music. So that's why I really enjoy a lot of that style of music. So once this, like, I will definitely be going and checking out some of your stuff. I just haven't yet because of life and stuff, and it's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
hectic and all, but I am looking forward to listening to that. Um, so then my next kind of question is, um, how many albums and stuff like that have you released since starting?
Okay, so in in the writing sphere of things, I made my debut in August of 2019, so actually less than a year ago. So I only have one album out at the moment. It's called Astronaut, and it's available on any streaming platform you can think of, or at least any streaming platform I can think of. Yeah, so I'm kind of working on another project, which will probably be a bit shorter. It's going to be called the Quarantine Tapes, and it's just a collection of things that me and my partner are working on with things that we found around the house. So it's going to sound very different from my first album.
Well,
So
that's
really,
good though.
yeah.
It sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. What were you saying?
Yeah. So yeah, my first album is 10 tracks long, so I've published 10 songs altogether.
Oh, nice. So then with the new project and kind of seeing as you said that it's going to be a little bit different from what your last album was, what are you really looking forward to people being able to hear on this album just in comparison to the first album that you released?
It's going to be very different. in terms of soundscape, because the way we're recording it is very different, just because I can't go to the studio that I used for my first album. So that was the first barrier we had to overcome. So in regards to like even just the way we mic things, it's going to be very different. There's still going to be the guitar sounds, but I don't have a violin over here. And then my partner, so yeah, my sound engineer is different than the one I used before. So we're kind of going in a more electronic direction than the previous one, which I'm actually really excited about because I haven't really explored synthesizers and things like that, and I've discovered there's a lot of different sounds out there I can work with. So I'm pretty excited about it. It sounds very different. Like the way I wrote the songs is the same way, but the way they sound on the album has transformed a lot for me.
Well, that's interesting. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
How has the learning curve been, just going from not using the electronic stuff as much and then now finding yourself using it a lot more for this new project?
It's been a lot of fun. I'm a firm believer in just following your instincts. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, like just keep exploring until you find something that sounds nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I used to be very hesitant to use electronic music because I kind of associate like pop sounds with the clipping noises that you hear on the radio and stuff like that. Or even just, yeah, you're wearing earbuds, you hear clipping, you're actually going a little bit deaf. So I kind of always associated those noises with, or those sounds with going deaf a little bit. So I was very hesitant to use it, but this has kind of been more technical, but if you don't, a lot of the time with pop music that clips a lot is what they're doing is they're compressing it at every step of the way, so it's as loud as it possibly can be. So what we're doing volume wise is making sure that we're not compressing until the very end. So I think it'll be quieter relative to other electronic albums, especially like in the modern day. But I think it's going to sound really nice because you can get a fuller sound than you can get with just miking a guitar. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited to see what other people think about it.
Well, that's good. I can't wait for it to come out then. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
So with music, obviously artists will find themselves kind of like sometimes will find themselves in a little bit of a creative struggle. Have you faced that at all? And what did you do to kind of overcome that and make it so that way you didn't want to give up on a project or throw it to the side and work on something new?
I think the biggest enemy to creativity is thinking you sound bad, if that makes any sense. Because I think that feeling is what propels people to give up. So I think the best way to overcome it is just to cast aside judgment until you've actually finished a project. That being said, it's easier said than done for sure. I've definitely given up on songs just because I'm following a direction and I don't like where it's headed, so I just don't explore it to the end. Yeah, I think the best thing is to just keep trying. Like when you're making your musical project, just you gotta just keep going no matter how frustrating or how much you don't think you're good. Like how much you doubt yourself. You just gotta push through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I just have like a couple more questions. And the next question is, it's more of a sensitive topic, but with everything that's been going on in the world with the coronavirus and everything else, how have you been coping with everything? And is there a certain thing that you found yourself doing a lot more, whether it be songwriting, playing your guitar, or just like sitting, reading a book, that kind of thing? And like, what kind of message did you want to get out into the world just from this interview?
That's a big question. I'm going to tackle it in parts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to do it chronologically because life has changed a lot. Like where I was before everything happened, I was working maybe 12 to 16 hours a day with very few rest days in between. And I was exhausted, and I was like definitely heading towards a burnout. Um, I find my life kind of flows in natural seasons like that. Like I have seasons where I'm extremely busy and I want to die, and then I have I have times where I'm less busy and I have more room to rest and just enjoy music. So yeah, the coronavirus really stopped me in my tracks because yeah, I was working a lot. I was heading towards a burnout, but I was also really excited about everything, and I was gonna work in a pit band for musical theater, and that all got canceled, and that was really frustrating and upsetting because I love playing in pit bands. Um, yeah, and then I had a huge income loss because of that too, because all of my jobs are in public with a lot of people. And then so I kind of yeah, I had to stop all that. And not only was I cut off financially, I was also cut off socially. Like I'm used to being in a work environment where I'm constantly around other people, and I get you get energy from that sort of stuff. I guess I'm considered extroverted. And yeah, so I had a way more time than I could ever want spending at home. And the first thing that happened was I just looked for more work. I was like, oh, there's got to be something I can do, and there wasn't. And then kind of like after I reeled back, I'm like, okay, like I accepted the fact that I'm not gonna be able to do any of my summer projects or the way that I thought that I was going to. Um, and I wasn't gonna be able to leave the house as much. I kind of adopted more introverted habits. So the first one I got was just working out because I really missed just running around all the time. So I started training to run a marathon. So that's been a lot of fun. And then I started painting as well because I've always loved painting, but I always considered myself bad at it, and I just didn't think I had enough time. So yeah, because I've had a lot more time, I've really explored my ability to paint, which varies from painting to painting, I find. Yeah, and then yeah, just playing music all the time as I normally would, except just by myself instead of with other people. As I still miss other people a lot, but um, I definitely appreciate the change of pace for sure.
And I feel like, especially with being kind of stuck at home, it's a lot. It's your time now more so than ever to be able to reflect on yourself, and I think that that's also another important thing. So, in a way, the pandemic and everything does obviously suck because you can't be around people, but it's also a great time for self-reflection. So that's the one thing that I've kind of taken, even just from everything, is the self-reflection and really working on myself, just in any way I can.
Yeah, as a folk musician, I'm not a stranger to self-reflection, but I definitely, yeah, when I'm working on a lot of projects at once, I can definitely lose myself a little bit.
Yeah,
So I'm appreciating this time for sure.
that's good. So just the last question that I had was actually just, was there anything that you wanted to add that I maybe missed or that you think would be important for the interview that should be talked about or anything like that?
I've said everything I wanted to. Yeah. Sorry.
No,
I
that's
don't
okay.
really have anything else to add.
Yeah, that's all right. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make
Oh,
sure that
actually, I can add something about my haircut.
okay.
Because I used to have very long hair, and it was just we had a heat wave, and it just got way too hot. But because we can't go to a hairdresser, I had to get my partner to cut it.
Oh,
So this is definitely a lot shorter than I would normally have my hair. Yeah, so COVID is definitely forcing me to take risks. That's for sure.
yeah. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you, and I really do hope that I covered everything that you were looking to cover and that the interview went well for you. And um, if you had anything that maybe I missed that you wanted me to address while I'm editing this, if you just let me know, even just on Messenger, I can be sure to add that in. And then if you send me the links to your social medias, I'll be sure to include all of that in the description of the video, as well as I will go and check it all out and give my opinion and stuff on it.
Please do. Also, you have the cutest kitten. I'm really enjoying
Thank you.
going on my Facebook and seeing your cute little kitten.
Mm-hmm.
Delightful. Yeah. And for sure, just after you're done the interview, it was she was there the whole time.
Yeah, he was sleeping.
So
Yeah.
small. Yeah. Anyways, I also do some information, and when you're done and posted it and everything, make sure to send it to me so I can also post it.
Yeah, I definitely will. And thank you again for taking the time to chat. And I hope that
thank you for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. I hope that you have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
We have now reached the end of the video. I really hope that you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.